Very interesting. Mr. Perry Stone says that in Nebuchadnezzar, the iron and clay, that's a very good point, is communism and democracy, and says that each one of them are mixing together, and that's the feat right before, that's the feat of Nebuchadnezzar's dream, and that those feet will crumble, but that's right before Jesus comes back. This is pretty good stuff here.
During the Bolshevik Revolution, communism became the belief system based on the ideology and the writings of Karl Marx. Now watch carefully. So in 1917, at the conclusion of World War I, during a revolution in the Soviet Union, or what we call today Russia, it would have been called Russia. Ready? There is suddenly something that happens, and you start getting two symbols that start proving it. You get a flag that is an iron sickle and a hammer. And you get something that was known for 70 years as the Iron Curtain. Now you're seeing where we're going. Don't jump ahead of me. I'll come out there and have to hit somebody if you jump ahead of me. Now don't do that. I'm not going to hit nobody. You see what I'm saying? So in 1917, there's this division that in the East, it's communism. What do they start taking over eventually? Bulgaria, Romania, all those countries that you have seen, Poland, everything east, all the way into Russia, starts coming under, even China's called in the last days the kings of the East. What are they? They're communist. So suddenly you have iron, dictatorship.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to interrupt this message right there. That's exactly what we're getting in the United States. Mr. Stone is talking about how the iron and clay are mixing on both legs of the statue, and that pretty much he's implying that the Soviets became more democratic, and the democracy, the United States, is becoming more communist. And that's exactly where this program, this illegal gang stalking, harassments, all this, it's a communist program. And you got people like the sheriff here in Nacogdoches County that's just out of control, and federal charges, illegally wiretapping, listening to people's conversations, putting their information out to third parties to do harm to citizens. The DA was involved in it. The district, the county attorney involved in it. It's just off the charts. It's off the charts. And here we go, right here, perfect example. This is what Mr. Stone's talking about. Let's listen.
Arresting people, beating people, controlling people. We all know this is in history. But then you have on the West, what happens in France and Britain and England? What happens more in the West? What happens through the United States? It's democracy. So from 1917 all the way through, and I don't know if you know this, Hitler hated the communists. And that's why Russia rose up to fight him. So there's this whole thing here again of iron. Of course, he was a part of the iron, actually. But you have the iron and the clay, meaning the iron is fighting, the iron is warfare, the iron is oppression, the iron breaks in pieces. Now, all this is not something I'm making up. This is all right here in the book of Daniel. So watch what happens now. So from 1917, we come into World War II, and all the world powers, world leaders, sit down and they take Germany and split it east and west. One part of Germany is clay. There's liberty, there's freedom, there's connections with the West. The other part is communism, and they have to deal with the Soviet Union and communism. There's your example of a mix of the iron and the clay just with one country. And then when we move forward, we see something begin to happen. Everybody say 70 years. From 1917, 20, I hope I can do this right because I'm really terrible with math. 17, 27, 37, 47, 57, 67, 77. How many years? 70 years, 1987. What began to happen? What began to happen And it didn't happen immediately that year, but it started happening. The Jews eventually, in 88, 89, and 90, start coming out of Russia back to Israel. Mikhail Gorbachev began to start something called Glasnost, in which he worked with Reagan, he worked with the Democrats to be, not the Democrats, but with the democracy, and he began to collapse the Soviet Union to give freedom to the people. And suddenly you had something really weird happen. Now watch this, but wait, you're still going to have iron and clay, so where does the next iron and clay start? Ready? 1979, called the Iranian Revolution. And suddenly we have a new iron on the block, and we have dealt with that iron through terrorism. And that iron is, and by the way, let me just say this, there are many moderate Muslims. There are many Muslims that they'll come and visit me, stay at my home. They're good friends. Shweki, that's his background. One of my dearest friends I've got, he would give me anything. He'd give me the shirt off his back because he's open to the he's open to the word, in other words, to the truth. But if you look at 1979, they took our embassy hostage in the country of Iran for 444 days. And from the beginning of that, you have a hardness, a more radical element, right?
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see where he's going, there's 2 feet on that statue, and they both mixed iron and clay. One has a little more iron in it, one has a little more clay in it. The United States was the clay, it was the democracy, but now it's mixing with iron. It's getting oppressing its people. It's a lot of corruption going on here, ladies and gentlemen. Nacogdoches County is the prime example. It's under federal investigation, multiple federal investigations, let me add, for breaking people's civil rights. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, just a little Bible study for you. You guys enjoy your weekend. God bless you.